Good morning, everyone. Welcome to 3Q, New Mexico's premier business podcast. I am your host, Pam Myers, and my wonderful co host is the fabulous
Erica Yoakum.
Eric
Whoa!
Yoakum. Woohoo. Our guest today is Margo Nimone. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Nyman.
Nyman, hard I. Okay. Margo Nyman. Thank you, Margo. And Margo is a glass artist with Nyman Art Glass. She also works for Prairie Dog Glass, which is located inside of Jackalope, Santa Fe. So, welcome, Margo. Thanks for joining on the podcast this morning.
Good morning, and thank you very much for having me.
So, how long have you been doing art glass work?
Gosh, about 32 years or so.
Yeah, long time. Yeah. What are some of the things that you create, or do you have a favorite like medium or type of
I
tell us?
particularly like to do sculpture. So I have done some Day of the Dead sculptures. As a matter of fact, the Glass Alliance New Mexico is going to have their second show at the Sunport this year from I think it's December 1st to January 31st. There will
Mhm.
be about 40 New Mexico glass artists represented in three different showcases. And I was lucky enough to be chosen with one of my pieces this year, which is
Congrats.
like a 36-inch tall Katrina totem pole.
Wow. Wow, that sounds fantastic.
I'm
Uh,
looking at your site right now. I'm just like blown away. The Day of the Dead stuff is absolutely beautiful, but I'm looking at fish and octopus and chilies, and you could have a whole restaurant in glass. What a beautiful idea!
yeah.
Very cool stuff.
Yes, that's one of our best sellers at Prairie Dog Glass. And actually, one of mine, I do contemporary Hispanic market most years, and also one of my best sellers at market.
Wow.
The chilies are great.
That
Beautiful.
can you talk a moment to help us novices understand what's how do you go about doing it? You need a kiln or an oven. How does that
Yeah,
all
it's
work?
not very portable.
Imagine not. Yeah.
Clay painting would have been a whole lot easier profession, but glass blowing, uh, we at Prairie Dog Glass have an 8,000-pound continuous feed furnace. So we feed glass into one side. It's called cullet, and it comes in chunks. And as it melts, there's a reservoir on the bottom and it refills the other side. So it continuously feeds the furnace. We don't ever turn it off. If we turned it off, the glass cools, the glass expands, the furnace would crack. So we shut it down maybe every 2 years to do needed repairs. Otherwise, the place is
Wow.
going 24/7, 365 days a year. So you take a blowpipe, you stick it in this molten pool of glass, and you turn to gather onto your pipe. And you continue the process until you get the amount of glass you want on there for the piece you're making. Chili peppers, one little gather in the furnace. If you're making a tall vase or a bowl, three gathers in the furnace, and then we layer our color on. We're open 7 days a week, 9 to 5. You can come watch, ask the glass blowers questions, or see Blown Away on Netflix. We'll give you an insight to the
Oh,
art of glass blowing. It's really fun. It's addicting,
oh
and
wow.
yeah.
It's is this is a weird question, but primarily like a male dominated field,
Oh,
as
good.
or is it, are there more women in it? This is something I'm thinking of all the times I've seen the little shorts that I've seen, and I've never seen a woman doing it. So I think it's very cool that you're doing this and have been for 30 years. That's pretty amazing. But is it a mostly male dominated field?
I would say it is shifting in recent years. When I started, it certainly was, I was I was the only woman that showed up regularly. And now we have quite a few. There's quite a few, happily. It's a changing field. And again, if you watch Blown Away, which it's a very small community, they just had the Indian market, and a lot of glass blowers come to Blue Rain. Prairie Dog Glass is very involved, bringing portable equipment for them to do demos out back.
Mhm.
And so it's a very small community. You know, we all know each other or have heard of each other, seen each other some way. And of course, I lost my train of thought. What was your question? Oh, women.
Male dominated, female dominated. More
Yes.
females coming into the field.
It is
Yeah.
definitely full of men, and yeah, but no, there's more women, happily.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
Wow.
Awesome.
So do you need somebody there that constantly stokes that furnace, or once it's going, it just is automatic?
No, we have to refill it with the cullet. You know, every day we'll put in a load.
Mhm.
And you know, if we're doing big pieces, I mean, some of the guys work huge.
Mhm.
Obviously, it's going to take more glass, and we have to refill the furnace.
Got it.
And right now at Prairie Dog, there are about a dozen different artists represented. We all do production work for the shop, and in exchange, we get to create our own work. And it has become more of a gallery in the last couple of years. A lot of work from the guys that are blowing glass have kind of changed the way the gallery looks. And we're having our first ever sale December 8th, 9th, and 10th. Everything in the studio will be 20% off. That's the studio work and all of the different artists that are represented. And I encourage you to look at the Facebook page. I'm trying to highlight one of our featured artists every few days on the Facebook page as we get to the show.
Okay. All right. Wonderful. And that's Nimone Facebook page. Nimone
No,
Glass.
that's the Prairie Dog Glass.
Prairie Dog Glass. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. Wonderful.
Very cool. And then, so how does one just start working in glass? I mean,
Yeah.
that's kind of like you said. It's not like
Right.
you see somebody painting in the park and you go, "Oh, painting looks fun," and you go try painting. I mean, you got to like make an effort to go.
You
learn
have
how
to make an effort.
not burn yourself to death, and
Right.
safety precautions, and now how to do it all. How did you get involved?
I as a profession, I was an ultrasound technologist for over 35 years.
Oh, wow.
And I was working on a contract job in Seattle, and they housed me over a glass blowing studio. And I, did a little tour and took a 6-week class, and I was hooked. So when I came back to New Mexico, I found, I think it was Taos Glass Arts, Tony Hohola, who has since passed away, got that going in Taos. And when that closed, I found Prairie Dog Glass here in Santa Fe and used to rent time. For a minute, I was a partner in the studio, but decided it's more fun just to blow glass and go home.
Yeah. Amen.
So you find a place to work. But, the answer is you figure it out. And eventually I moved to Santa Fe to be closer to the shop, honestly.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Because do glass blowing artists have like their own?
A few.
Okay.
I mean, it's so expensive. And again,
Mhm.
that furnace is on 24/7, 365 days a year. The gas bill right now is probably, I would imagine probably around $3,000 a month just for the gas bill.
Okay.
So it is a very expensive art form. It is not a portable art form. And I think you have to love doing it to, there's a strong desire to get back in the studio. I got to go back to the shop. I got to try this. Oh, I want to try that.
Right.
And honestly, when you put your glass away, it's still so hot. Everything is orange. And so you think you know what the colors are going to come out like. And the next morning when you open the furnace and go, oh,
that would be.
It's a fantastic surprise.
Yeah. Right.
It's a fun art form, but not portable.
So you can only control the color to a certain degree, is what I'm hearing you say?
Heat, mass, yes, it all affects. I mean, some colors are pretty steady.
Oh, you're good.
You're okay. Yeah, internet.
Yeah, some colors are pretty much, how they're going to come out. There's a lot of colors that are opal, iris. What
Mm.
creates color in glass is the metals. So cadmium, copper, I think chromium, and the way they react with each other, sometimes you'll get different effects. Sometimes if you heat the glass too much, especially on those iris colors, it turns brown or white, or so it's a lot of temperature. Temperature can affect it. We touch it with wet newspaper, and the cooling of that can change the color the minute you touch it. So we have an idea, and we hope things come out, and you can kind of be consistent, but a lot of it's when you're experimenting with colors, that's what it is. What's this going to look like?
Right?
Yeah. Wow. That sounds so cool. I definitely have to come into the store in Jackalope. That sounds really cool.
Please do. It's so much fun.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Well, okay, so there's a show coming up. You're having a sale December 8th through the 10th, right? At Prairie Dog Glass. And then there's a show that you mentioned that runs the month of December. You want to repeat that information again?
That is at the Albuquerque Sunport. I think it's on the bottom level. There will be 3 or 4 showcases. 40 New Mexico artists will be represented by the Glass Alliance New Mexico in the Sunport show.
Awesome. Wonderful. Wonderful. That's so fantastic. Erica, do you have any other questions? You're always full of all great questions.
So I'm thinking about like going through the whole pandemic and all that. Did you get to work in the studio? Did you get to? That must have been frustrating as all get out if you're an artist and you can't get to your medium for however long.
Very frustrating. Yeah.
Wow.
And
so you couldn't all be together, and you have to all be in one place because that's where the furnace is.
Right.
Wow. Yeah. Crazy.
I literally live behind Jackalope. And they did close Jackalope, and I'm like, hey, why can't we go in and do our cold work? Or no, the gates were locked. It was sad.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. And like you said, it's not like you're just going to crack open your own little furnace and start working
exactly.
at home.
Right. Mm-hmm.
This is not something you do in your oven at home.
No. There was no pivoting there. Didn't sound like.
No pivoting.
I pivoted to construction and did work around the house.
Half of the United States. I swear to God, everybody was like, that hole in the wall. We can fix that now. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Margo, thanks so much for popping in and being a guest on the podcast this morning. We really appreciate your time and information.
Yes. And I'm going to put this up.
I appreciate it. It was lovely to speak with you both.
And that's where folks can go and look at beautiful pictures of your artwork. It's a Facebook page. Go take a look, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful stuff. I'm more curious. I want to go do a tour. Do I have to bring like sunglasses and
come and take a class, Erica? I forgot to mention we do classes every day. It's a 1-hour glass blowing experience. Whatever you make, you pick up the following morning. You get 3 to 4 pieces in an hour, depending on what you choose to make. We have a little menu for you to look at. So come and take a class with me. It'll be fun.
Oh, wow. That sounds like a blast.
That sounds like it. Yeah. And no wine. Don't do glass blowing and wine drinking at the same time.
Well, if you have a little flask around your neck.
No, you know how they do the painting and wine thing? I'm thinking, a bunch of drunk women and blow with glass blowing tools.
No.
Sounds bad idea.
Safety first.
Right.
Safety first. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yep. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. Thanks for listening. Please join us again for the next podcast.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.